Welcome to another edition of Arizona Living. Today, I'm with Gabby and Janet again. And today we're gonna talk about how to buy a house in Arizona. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, welcome back to Sam's YouTube channel. In this video, we're gonna talk about how much it costs to buy a home in Arizona and how do you buy a house. So the most important thing everybody asks, how much does it cost to buy a home? Well, we're gonna talk about that in this video. There are some mandatory costs when you're buying a home. You need a down payment, you need an inspection, you need an appraisal, and you need closing costs. So what are these? So the down payment is typically between 0 to 20% of the purchase price. Yeah, that's right, guys. Yeah. There's down payment programs that allow you to get into a home with 0 down. There's also a lot of loan programs that let you get into a home with 0% down as well. You know, without these programs, you know, if you have to require, you know, the minimum down payment that you need is 3%. Yeah, so it really depends obviously on your situation and how much you actually want to pay. A lot of people have the money for down payment, so the bigger the down payment, you know, the more cheaper the mortgage payment, so they prefer that. If you're a first-time home buyer, a lot of the times you may be eligible for, like she said, down payment assistance, so that's when you can actually literally buy with 0% down. Right.
So my story is the first home I bought in Denville, New Jersey, in Morris County, I think it was called. I was poor. I wasn't even poor. I was just poor. Couldn't afford the OR, right? So I scraped whatever I could. I think I came up with like 10 grand. And I had that whole 3% deal. So I was able to get in there, and that was my first home. And then I got foreclosed because my marriage fell apart. And yeah, I referred to her as the devil in a previous video. So the devil stayed in the house. She refused to leave. It killed my credit. I got foreclosed eventually. And so when I first moved here, I moved in with Cartoon Wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. She owned the house outright. We sold the house, we parlayed the money. But the problem was, since I was foreclosed on, I couldn't qualify for a 3% deal anymore. Right. So I had to come up with 20%, which we managed to get from the sale of her house. So that's how we did it.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's many ways, especially if you own other properties, you know, in other states and you're trying to relocate, selling that property, and like he did it. That's a beautiful way of doing it. It's a very good way of actually doing that. So obviously there's several loan options out there, you know, VA, FHA, and all this stuff. And I know it's some people you probably, you know, not familiar with all that terminology. That's what's very important, that, you know, you talk to a lender. That's very important. A lot of people are afraid to talk to a lender and to give credit information. But number one, you have to work with a lender who's trustworthy and reputable in the business, and we can connect you with someone if you're interested in it. But it's important because they pull your credit. They know how much you're going to qualify for. They know if you could even buy a house. I mean, if you have a 400 credit score, you might have some work to do. But they can give you an action plan. It can take you anywhere from 3 months to even a year. And if you follow the action plan, I mean, there's no reason why, you know, you can't buy a house. They're giving you an action plan enough to fix your credit and even save money. Now, for the millennials out there, what is a FICO score? What is that? FICO score is basically a number that determines, you know, your credit, and it determines, you know, your financial, kind of like a grade. Hey, are you paying your bills on time? Are you spending more than you can afford? And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a credit card of $1,000 and you maxed it out. Obviously, your credit is going to go a little bit lower. Because you're spending more than you can actually afford, and you're making minimum payments. There's a lot of things that come into consideration when it comes to credit. And to buy a house, the minimum credit score required is 640. 640. Sometimes a little bit lower depending on the lender. It's 580. Oh, 580, there's a dispute. But to get into a loan program at 640. Yeah, sorry. Like I said, there's multiple options available, but minimum is 580. And then if you're getting into down payment assistance, that's when the minimum is about 620, 640, depending. The good news is, hashtag Dave Ramsey, you too can improve your credit score. Because mine, because of the devil, was crap. I think mine was like 400 at one point. And now, I think I'm at like almost 800. So it's possible. You can dramatically improve your credit score. Yeah. Right. If you talk to the lender and they give you that action plan, they actually have ways easy ways on how to help you increase your credit score as well. So that's a good option.
Right, guys, and you know, the better the score, the more better your mortgage payment's gonna be, because you get a better rate and hopefully a lower payment.
Yeah, higher score, lower mortgage payments and interest rates. So yeah.
So another cost aside from the down payment is the inspection. So in purchasing a home, you know, it is important that you get an inspection. Yes, sometimes you can waive it, but you wouldn't want to do that because, you know, you're buying an asset. You want to know what the hell you're buying.
Yeah.
You know, you want to make sure that you know what is wrong with the house.
Yeah.
So typically those cost around $500, but that it also includes a termite inspection, because in Arizona, there's homes that don't have termites and there's those that don't have termites yet.
Yeah, so termites are actually very common in Arizona. Have you ever had termites in your home?
Not me, but my mom in Mesa. She actually got a contract with Termites. She had a crazy amount of termites under the sink.
Really?
Yeah, it was bad.
But it was taken care of?
It was taken care
Okay,
of.
yeah.
They had came out, I can't even tell you how many times, but yeah, eventually it got taken care of.
Yeah. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, the house has termites. We're not gonna buy this. You know, this house is done. But no, termites are very common and they're very easy to, you know, take care and, you know, take care of the problem. Just because you're buying a house and it happens to have termites, just a treatment will actually take care of it, depending on the severity, obviously, you know.
Right, but so you make sure you get an inspection because you want to know what you're buying and you want to protect yourself. You know, you don't want to buy a house that's like almost $400,000 and then turn out, you know, there's mold all over it, and then that's going to cost you so much money. Yeah. Or there's things that, you know, the structure's not right, the foundation's not right. You know, they're really important to get those items and things checked out.
Or there's a room that was not approved, and then you buy the house and you got to tear the room down, you know?
Yeah, so it's very important for you to get an inspection. Don't ever waive the inspection. We never recommend that.
Unless you're an investor and, you know, you're going to come in and demo the house anyways.
Yeah.
Another cost is the appraisal. So the appraisal is typically around $500 here in Arizona currently. And that really ranges also depending on the size of the house and, you know, where the house is located and so forth. But the appraisal pretty much is a guy that comes out and evaluates how much your home is worth based on the comparables around your area. So if someone is charging you $300,000 for a home and the appraiser comes out and it's like, no way, everything's selling for $250, and you know your house next door, your neighbor's house just sold for $250, it's apples to apples, you need to pay $250. The bank will only lend you on the $250. So that's a way to really regulate the market. You know, it doesn't allow sellers to get crazy on their pricing and really overcharge you for what you're buying.
Yeah, we don't want 2005 to happen all over again, where people were buying houses that were not affordable or, you know, not even priced right. So that's the way to control the market. Obviously we're doing it now and it's been like that. So the market is not very regulated, so even the amount of foreclosures that we're seeing are very, very, very minimal, just because, I mean, you still see them depending on the situation. People sometimes just let them go, you know, they divorce, they pass away or whatever it is. But the market is now so regulated that people are buying homes that they actually afford.
Yeah. And finally, we have our closing costs. So our closing costs are, you know, when it comes to the end of the transaction, you know, it's your title fees, your escrow fees, you know, your lender fees, all the fees all combined, including your down payment and stuff, all into one. And you get charged that at the end. It's typically around 3%. I'm aiming high, roughly about 2.5%.
Not the down payment. That's in addition to the closing.
That's in your closing costs as well, on top of that.
Yeah.
So you have a down payment and you have a closing cost.
Yeah, and when she said escrows, for those of you who don't know, it's actually your prorated taxes and your insurance.
Those fees can vary depending on everyone's case.
Yeah, so they vary, like Gabby said, and they can also be negotiable depending on the market. I mean, if the house has multiple offers, you can't, you know, the seller is always going to go for the strongest offer. But if it's a house that's been sitting there, a lot of the times we try to negotiate them and have the seller cover it. Doesn't always happen. Like I said, depending on the market. Phoenix is a very hot market. But hey, we always try our best to negotiate them to help you, the buyer.
Cartoon Wife's house in Avondale, we had it on the market for 4 days. We got 2 full price offers. Now, one of them, they thought they'd be cute, and the realtor was trying to get a little extra for themselves. I was like, I'm not playing that game. I got another full price offer. I'm gonna go with that one, you know? And then they tried to make me fix a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, I fixed some of the stuff. Other stuff, I was like, I'm not gonna bother. I could just do another open house and have another 5 offers.
Yeah, like I said, Phoenix is very, very hot. A lot of the times, the houses have multiple offers, especially if it's priced right. They're gonna be gone in less than 2 days. Like he said, you're gonna have multiple offers. But it really depends. If you're selling your home, I mean, there's other ways on how to like try to be competitive. But right now we're talking about buyers.
Okay, so you millennials out there, we said this in the previous video. You want to buy a house, right? You're young, you have no idea what to do. What's the very first step they need to do besides calling the A-team?
Yeah. Number 1, call the A-team. Number 2, we're gonna get you in contact with the lender. Like I said, we work with very reputable and trustworthy people that we work on a daily basis. They're gonna sit down with you, whether it's over the phone or in person, and go over your situation, financial situation. They're gonna run your credit, see what's your credit score, and then they're gonna run your income. Hey, you make this amount of money so you can buy at this amount. And with your credit, that all put together determines how much you're able to afford and what potentially your interest rate would be.
Now, I've gotten a lot of questions from the Zonies who are considering relocating to the Valley of the Sun saying, Sam, I don't have a job there. How could I possibly apply for a mortgage without having employment in the state? What would you say to that?
Okay, so for that, a lot of the times, you can actually start the process while you're living in the state that you're living in right now. It will actually work a little bit better. That's a question that you will have to talk to the lender, to be honest, because every situation is completely different. So that would be on the lending side. You know, how long do you have in your job? If you're only working in your job for 6 months and you're trying to relocate, you're gonna still make it a little bit unstable. Sometimes it takes work. Sometimes you may want to come here first. You know, we'll meet with you. You might want to rent for a couple months before we prepare you to get you into that home. You know, depending on where you're gonna work. Because the number 1 thing that you have to look into is location. You know, affordability and location. The last thing you want is to have a job in Gilbert and then work in Goodyear, which is opposite side of the valley. Your commute is gonna be hell and you're not gonna be happy. Yeah, so that's very important.
Yeah, so, you know, talk to the lender. Only they will be able to determine that. You know, and like she said, they're our partners. I'm like super paranoid about people. So like if I can trust them to give them my social and run my credit, that means that, you know, they're good people. They're definitely there to stay. You can trust them.
Yeah, so if you're gonna reach out to us, we'll be more than happy to help you guys. Our business or our name is on the line of everything, so we make sure that we trust with very reputable people that we trust. We will never put you in a bad situation or throw you out to somebody that you don't know. Yeah, but it takes a process. And like I said, if you guys want more information on anything, reach out to Sam or text me or Gabby, and we will be more than happy to send you some information, even on the mail or email. And we'll go over a lot of information: location, price, cost, the process, your situation in general. So it's a lot. But in reality, it's one step at a time. You know, talk to a realtor, talk to a lender, and then after you talk to the lender, you know your goal, your affordability, your situation, and then we'll go from there.
So that concludes another edition of Arizona Living. Be sure to like, subscribe, and if you're still living at home with your parents, there's hope. You can have your own place, okay? You don't have to live in an apartment with 15 guys. So be sure to contact the A-team.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Till next time.